Hiya. I thought while I was in this beautiful place, waiting for my husband filming the train, the steam train, I thought I'd answer a few questions. What my friend Judith kindly asked me. And one of the questions was, have I always lived in Rose Cottage? And no, I haven't. I moved in Rose Cottage in 2020. I've moved 30 times, over 30 times in my lifetime. I lived in a bungalow prior to Rose Cottage, and before that was a tourist house. But I've lived mostly in Bishop Auckland. My family's from a small village called Witten Park, and that's where I first lived when I was a baby, and we moved to Bishop Auckland. I used to live in a village in Durham, and when I was first divorced, I lived in Shildon, and that's like a town just a couple of miles up from Bishop Auckland. But mostly I've lived in Bishop Auckland, so I hope that answers your question. I don't really know what triggered FND. When I look back now, that was one of the other questions. I got diagnosed with FND in 2023 after I became paralysed. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move my left arm, and I was admitted to hospital, and that's how they diagnosed me. The symptoms, I really don't know what's triggered it, because when you Google FND, it says trauma can be a symptom, what can trigger FND symptoms. I don't really know, but I've always had depression since childhood, through trauma of my childhood. But I had symptoms, maybe the early 2000s, of different symptoms of FND. I didn't know at the time. I used to get a lot of cognitive issues, memory losses, and find it difficult to struggle to study, especially when I was doing the teaching, and then later on the counselling. It was started off with cognitive issues, which I just think down to mental health issues, so I didn't really pursue it. But then my hands would, I'd have a lot of pain in my hands and my legs, especially when I used to go on my walks and go to the gym. I had a really bad fatigue, really bad heads, bowel, I think that's the train, bowel and bladder problems. A lot of pain, and it felt as though like I was having a heart attack, but I suffer with panic attacks, so I just put it down to all that. But I knew there was something wrong with me, and I used to just get tested for like my heart, I can't remember what you call it, you know, where it hurts your wrist, and they sent me to physio, and all the tests were just coming back all right, and I kept going down. When I was going down the doctors, I was thinking they're going to think I'm a hypochondriac. So I stopped going really, but then the muscle pain became too unbearable, and the palpitations, and yeah, I had lots, and I would be here all day telling you all these different symptoms. I went down and I said, look, there's something wrong here. I can hardly use my left hand and my arm, and they gave me amitriptyline, and then a few days later I was admitted to hospital because I couldn't move. I think that might be the steam train, I'm not sure. So I can't really pinpoint how I got FND. I think it's been an accumulation of things over the years. When my husband, then fiance, wanted to propose to me, we were booked on a walking holiday in Scotland, This was back in 2018 when I was really like into me walking and everything, and I'd broken my toes before we went on the walking holiday, and I didn't have no protection on my foot, just a sandal because I couldn't get my shoe on. And we didn't change the holiday, which was unfortunate. So when I did sit down and rest, and he proposed to me that day, even though it was lovely that he proposed to me, I was exhausted and my foot was up like a pudding. And after the holiday, I come out in hives. I had really bad skin problems. I don't know what was the matter with me, and they tested me and everything came back all right. So I don't know if it was the trauma as well of the walking holiday what contributed it, because my symptoms got worse in 2018. I'm just talking about the FND, answering some of the questions, and I don't really know how it started. I'm just saying about the cognitive issues, the skin problems after the walking holiday with the broken toes. So I'm not sure if, because that got worse, didn't it, in 2018?
Yeah.
So I hope I'm making sense. How was the steam train anyway?
Quick.
All right, okay.
Come thrashing up and then disappeared.
Right.
But I got some footage anyway.
Good. I've answered the question about have I always lived at Rose Cottage, and I've answered the question about FND, and I'm going to have a look to see what the other questions were. But thank you, Judith, for giving me these questions to answer. Okay. The walking holiday could have contributed towards the FND because I had no protection and my skin was like this all over. So I think maybe my body went into shock after walking for days without any protection. Health professionals say that you can get FND if you've had childhood trauma. But many living with FND haven't experienced any form of trauma. Some say stress is another trigger too, but some of my symptoms have been worse in happier times, like when I was in the gym trying to keep fit, and when I was on holiday with friends and having a good time. They say it's an invisible illness, but if you don't get the appropriate support, it does eventually take its toll. As you can see here and here.
So what jobs have you had in your working life, and which one has been your favourite?
Right. Well, I'll have to say at the beginning, when I was 16, I was studying to be a teacher because that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do from childhood. I used to play teachers with everybody who would. So unfortunately, some family circumstances, I couldn't, when I was doing the teaching, I had to stop doing it, and I wanted to help my family out. So I got a YTS, and it was in a china and crystal shop, and it sold Royal Albert and Royal Dalton and all of that lot. Some lovely crystal. And then to help out a bit more, I stopped working there and got a full-time job in a factory, which was okay, I guess, but that's not what I wanted to do. It was a coil winder, and I worked there on day shift and twilight shift throughout my first marriage, and left there when my second child was born. And then I've done care work and support work, and I had 3 jobs doing I was a support worker for 2 lecturers in a college. It's a bit like a PA, and also a learning support assistant in the college, and I was also doing teaching in the college. and so I did a lot of teaching one-to-one adults with learning difficulties, and I would say that was my favourite job ever. But again, circumstances with family, I had to stop doing that to help out some family members, and that's all I can say about that really. It was personal circumstances, which unfortunately I had to stop, and then later on I worked as a care assistant and a support worker for adults with learning difficulties again, and now I can't work because of this condition, unfortunately, but I do miss working, but my favourite was the teaching. I used to love it. I used to make these little certificates for them because to get them to enjoy English, it was I'd find out the hobbies, so I would use within the curriculum. I would do like a comprehension exercise for their particular hobby, but as long as it was within the curriculum in the college, and the tutor and the mentor thought that was brilliant, and so yeah, that was my favourite job.
You like upcycling. Did you have any training, or how did you gain the skills?
Right, well, thank you for that. No, I really only started upcycling, I think it was 2014, 2015, and really, I'm not saying people should do this, by the way. It just worked for me. But I was on antidepressants, and I gained 5 stone in 2 years, and I was just like a zombie. Antidepressants didn't work for me, and I thought, right, something has to give here. I want me back, and I came off the tablets, and upcycling was my way of keeping my mind busy, basically. I found that I enjoyed doing it, and that was replaced the antidepressants for me. But people shouldn't just come off tablets like that. I did, and I shouldn't have, but I didn't really have any symptoms because I was doing upcycling. But that's how I started doing it, really, and it was alleviated a lot of my mental health struggles. I'm not a very good upcycler, really, but I like to share them. In my mind, I think, yeah, I can have it like this, but when it comes down to it, I have paint all over. And unfortunately now, well, while I was doing upcycling, I didn't realise at the time why I was dropping the paint, or my hands were shaking and my hands were hurting. But now I know that it's through FND, and I hope that's... But I really appreciate you, Judith, for liking me upcycles. Thank you. you there. As you can see, I'm back in bed. There's lots to catch up on, and there's some other questions to answer. So I'll just get straight into it. And it says, do you know when you're going to have a seizure, or does it come on without any warning? I don't know when I'm going to have a seizure. Sometimes I might get a bad head and pain down here, but no, they just come on. And they say on Google about FND that your symptoms are caused by stressful situations, and that's not always the case. I've had a seizure when it's been a happy moment. I've had seizures when I've been rested in bed. So it's very unpredictable. Yeah. So thank you for that. And the other one, can I see or feel anything around me when I have an episode? Well, I'm totally aware of what's going on when I have an episode, but sometimes it looks like I'm asleep, and I go like that with my eyelids. I kind of open them up, but I'm totally aware of what everybody's saying to me. I know everything what's going on, and yeah. And how does it feel? Does it hurt? Is it like a funny sensation, or am I blank? And how does it feel? It's quite scary, actually. I'm getting used to them now, though, but it's quite scary because your brain's active, but it's like having motor neurons. You can't move your body. You can't try to give them, to tell your family or whoever's around you that you're okay. It's really difficult. And what I find more scary is that I cannot breathe, because it feels like my neck and my tongue is swelling up. And even though it looks quite mild on the videos, what I'd put on the last chapter, it just looks like that, but it's, for someone experiencing it, it's a lot worse than what it looks like. I feel like I'm choking. I can't breathe. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, try and keep calm, Andrew, try and keep calm. But it's really scary. I don't like being talked to as if I'm like, don't understand, or I'm a bit thick or something like that. And I can get a bit frustrated by that. Or in a condescending way, because I feel a bit small as well. I feel embarrassed that they see me like that as well, and that's why I want them to know about what to do and what not to do when I have a seizure, because I'm relying on them when I can't do anything for myself, basically. So it tends to hurt more afterwards, and then you get really bad cognitive issues then afterwards. It's you're having to rest after. It's really bad neurological pain. It depends. It's all different. You could have like a migraine, like sciatica. It depends, but yes, it can be painful. It looks like I have like a blank expression on my face sometimes, but I'm not feeling blank because my brain's active. So I just want to say, Donna, thank you for them questions. if you haven't seen the chapter 4, you can see some of the symptoms I have, and the seizures are on there, and you can see me like trying to move my hands when my husband's talking to me. So I don't know if that might help, but I really appreciate you taking the interest to ask me them questions, and Judith too. Thank you. And last but not least, Sandra, she said to me, what advice would you give to your younger self? And I'm not going to tell you what I said to her. The reply was what my first reply was, but she knows. I said I can't put that on YouTube, but looking back and with the way I've answered the questions, especially on the walk, and just now basically, is the fact that I should think of myself as well instead of just thinking of others, and because since I got diagnosed with this, it has been very lonely, and you certainly find out who's there for you and who's not, even though you don't want anybody to basically wipe your backside for you. It's still nice for someone to take an interest in getting to know what you have, to try and support you in them situations, especially when you're having a seizure. I think looking back, especially the younger self, I always think of that little girl in me, the trauma, and for it not to be scared that everything's going to be all right because I'm here, and that it wasn't her fault. And when I was a young adult, obviously to still pursue them studies, not to think of them other people at the time, because I wasn't really better thought of for doing it. As a mum, when you're married, when you first married, as a mum, I would, you have to sacrifice things when you're a mum, because to me, that's what a mum is, and I wouldn't change any of that for the world. Maybe me being able to understand my mental health issues better, because it really wasn't fair on my young children when I was first divorced. So I wished I'd been able to have understood everything really, because I think when you've come from trauma from a very early age, you tend to attract people who don't have your best interests at heart, and you people please, and you're not really in healthy situations. And it's took me training to be a counsellor, and then studying mental health and teaching it and everything, to understand that when you to come out of that unhealthy bubble, and I'm saying that because I'm still in an unhealthy bubble with regards to the situation I'm in, and I'm making a big move to move out of this situation, and that means, unfortunately, I'm moving from Rose Cottage, which is quite scary, because I'll be moving on my own. But I have carers coming in now, and I have a lovely lady, a support worker called Michaela. And if Michaela, if you're watching it, thank you so much for what you've done for me. And I have this to wear in case I fall. So all that will be put in place when I do move. And as much as I don't really want, because that person who's been used to that unhealthy bubble for all these years, you know, because it's familiar. When you've been in a dark place really all your life, that's all you've known. And when there's a light there, you're like that. It's quite blinding. But that's what therapy is. You have to see the light. It's no good keep taking a step back, or you're always going to stay in the dark place. And so I know moving from here is going to be beneficial for me, and I'm sure it'll be beneficial for my husband as well. I'll come back here and I'll see him, and we'll probably still do videos and things like that. But I really need this fresh start. I need to start concentrating on myself, instead of trying to help others. They need to help themselves, because when I'm doing all that, I'm sort of neglecting my needs. And I'm 55 now, and I don't want to be 56 and be in this situation still. I probably always have depression and anxiety. I probably have FND, but I'll be in a healthier situation, and maybe my symptoms won't be as complex as they are now. And I've reached out to my friends, and they want the friend back, basically. But I'm not doing it because they want the friend back. I'm doing this for me. I need to. And I want my kids to be proud of us. I don't want them to see a mum who's had a black cloud over her all her life. It's not been a really very good role model for them. And also my grandchildren as well. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an update. And I've still got loads of videos what I need to upload from the past. But this one is quite up to date. The chapters are. I'm looking forward to upcycling stuff again, even if I'm only using one hand like I normally do, and taking 10,000 breaks and having to do it over a longer period, which I don't show anymore. I don't show that. I just condense it because I just want to show happy moments, you know. Because I used to do that before. That helped my mental health, and that's why I do these vlogs, because if I focus on something what's happy, it gives me hope that I can do that again, however long it takes me. I hope whoever, somebody could be watching this. I know I only have a small channel, but whoever's watching this and the probably in the same situation as me, I hope this has given you some kind of inspiration or some awareness of FND if you didn't know about certain symptoms and you didn't you hadn't been to the doctors and you were getting them and you didn't know what was the matter with you. I hope that's helped you. And I hope anybody who's struggling mentally, that there is light at the end of that tunnel, but it's only you who can be brave enough to take that first step to see the light. Not for anybody else, but for yourself. I realise the time, not that I can see it very well on the phone, because with FND you forget what you say as well. And I probably give very, very long-winded answers. But I'm going to end this with a smile and say thank you. And here's to the next chapter. Bye now.